So hi everybody and welcome back. This is another kit review, They nickname them sometimes unboxing, but I call them kit review. And on my channel you already found plenty of them, It's basically what crosses my hand in the moment or before some customer build or before some personal build, for my production and so on. This time indeed I'm presenting you this new model from Alpha Model. Alpha Model is a company from China that is active since some years right now. I think it's the same guy coming from, I think, from the Hobby Design group as well as the PZI group, even from China. They have a very, very nice logo made in China under this wonderful drawing of the Daytona sp3. And it is one of their last release. I'm very excited to see what's inside of this box because the car is simply amazing. Is one of the super Ferrari worth 2.3 million euro, to have an idea. Hybrid supercar, sorry. So everything is super. It's one of the big Ferrari series, and as far as today, not one of the biggest plastic producer ever made it in 1/24 scale. This is a full detail kit, full detail. Now let's see what's inside. And I remember that I get in touch with Hobby Design a couple of times. I refer to Hobby Design in the same way of Alpha Model because I think the guys involved, as I said, are probably the same guys, And back in time I made for them, I have just my personal limit over this type of items that is related to the subject because basically I build up and collect, as you can see from my channel, mostly race cars, And unfortunately, Hobby Design and also Alpha Model didn't make so many race car. They just recently they started to make some very interesting Ferrari Formula 1 car in 1/20 scale. The very recent last one is, so I think that's F23 and the Formula 175, so it's basically the 2019 and the 2022-23 car, Instead, this is extremely interesting because unless some of the major manufacturers, and I just mean about Tamiya, will make this in 1/24 scale, it is probably that nobody until now ever did and ever will make the model of this car in 1/24 scale. Never say never because as far as from their production, I've seen that for example, the Porsche Carrera 992 GT3 RS have been just made by Tamiya in 1/24 scale, so who knows? Of course, if they are planning for something like this, it deserves one of the excellent models that they did in the past, as for the FXX, Ferrari Enzo, LaFerrari, all that type of models, so something extremely special. And probably, I don't mean they don't have the power to do it, but usually Tamiya is a little bit scared by the royalty issues, so they don't produce so many Ferraris, and also the royalty are depending from stuff to stuff. This is indeed a very small production. It's a quite limited production, it's quite tricky to have them. I get in touch with the company because in the beginning I was quite interested more in the Porsche GT3R that they made, the Rexy car, that was quite famous, quite popular, very nice mold I see from picture. But they already finished it, so I get in touch to have this one instead, this sp3, to review and to build up for them. So the box is quite mysterious, just have a very decent blue, like all the other one from Studio 27, Model Factory Hero, so the packaging is the same. Very, very interesting that they choose to use this technical detail that is absolutely stunning. We are all nerds, modelers, so we love this type of details. Very, very nice one. And let's see what's inside of the box. First of all, you will find, apart from an excellent packaging, honestly, it was even too much wrapped, I was a little bit surprised when I opened it the first time because I was not expecting the such a little for my light. Not so many Regia art director assistant during my video, but that's it. I was quite surprised to see what's inside because I was not expecting, considering this is basically a curbside kit, I was not expecting this amount of pieces. There is millions of pieces in this box. These are very nice and detailed and colored. This is stuff that, you know, I also make models in resin, but of course this is a different level for me. This is a much stronger company. I'm just a single man, you know, a lonely wolf, like many that dislike me used to call me, you know, the lonely wolf. Yes, I am making my resin production, you know. Instead, this one is absolutely complete, and they have, for example, the presentation of all the parts. And I was impressed because the Daytona sp3, basically being a curbside, I was mostly concentrated in the main body, under chassis, the wheels, front and rear details. So for me, the model was ended there. Instead, they add all these platoon of excellent and extremely well done details. Plus, and this is probably why the heritage is coming from the hobby design stuff, they have these excellent photo etched sets. You know, honestly, in the past, when I had to deal with hobby design, mostly, in my opinion, the biggest issues that I had with the company was just about the contact, you know, because you never understood how to get in touch with them, you know. I remember back in time I was working, we are talking about the more or less 20 years ago, you know, when I was working after Esci with Mr. Dino Coppola and the producer of his master before for the Esci company in Cernusco sul Naviglio, and later on with the collector armor company that he made in the 90s, you know, after he sold to the Ertl group all the Esci molds, you know, with all the legends about the destiny of the type of molds. And I remember that, for example, to deal with him was extremely complicated, you know, and the same was for these hobby design models, because it was extremely tricky to get finally the model, you know. I think at the time I get a sample from them that I had to build up, but I remember that was tricky for the people looking what I was doing, where to get eventually the model. The model I am referred to, it was the stunning Nissan GTR, the Nismo version, the racing car. You know, as I said, I mostly do just racing cars. You know, I don't usually do production cars. This is an exceptional model because this is not an ordinary car. Of course, Daytona sp3 is little more special, you know. But every time that I had to deal, as I was saying before, with the details provided by hobby design that I bought also by my side, you know, for wipers, for PSat, for the details of the Porsche GT3R, I remember, they were absolutely excellent because they were printed in an excellent, I mean, I say printed despite the photo etched set is a little bit different photo etched production, you know, with acid eating the metal, so it's not exactly a printing, but the detail was awesome, and the quality of the material was also perfect for modeling because it was hard but in the same point, and extremely well detailed and extremely precise, as well as for the decal sheet. You know, this model have an exceptional quantity of decals. You know, it's just up to you because they provide basically everything, you know, all the details of the carbon fiber set, that of course in this type of model they can give you the pre-cut dimes for the carbon fiber set, but then it's you that have to make something little extra. You know, this is anyway not an ordinary plastic kit, so it is anyway a resin kit, so it's anyway intended for more experienced modelers, you know. And I remember that the quality of their decal was absolutely awesome. I remember that I made with it even from hobby design, so I think I'm talking of the same guys. I made my Ferrari 458 GT2 in the JMW configuration, the yellow one. I made two ones. One was the red F Corse with quite terrible decal from Frank from Decal Doc. You know, I say terrible because he mean to use double layers for the white and for the silver, so you have to apply basically 2 times the decal, so it's very risky to make 2 thick layers. You know, indeed the hobby design decal were absolutely awesome. You know, I remember that also back in time the same guys after the Nismo contacted me, we're talking of now about even here more than 10 years ago, and I'm always late. I'm always the one that arrives with the last train. You know, the last row is always my row, and I remember that I missed it, you know, and I was only able to get the decal, so I decided to go for my own body, and the decals that they made was, in my opinion, the best ever I had to deal with. Really, the quality was amazing. In my opinion, despite I am Italian and despite Cartograph is an Italian company, in my opinion, the hobby design decal printed somewhere in China, I don't know by whom and where, were absolutely the best I ever used, you know. So I'm really excited to see how this other ones will be used over the model, you know. It's important that with all these options, you know, they have a lot of numbers, combo numbers and so on. They basically are making nearly all the most famous sp3 seen around. Some of them that you can clearly recognize from the livery is clearly this is Leclerc car, you know, with the colors of Monte Carlo, but it's flat black, and I don't like Ferrari in flat black. He loves it. Leclerc is Leclerc. I'm not Leclerc, so I don't like in that color. And I probably will switch to something like in a deep red or metallic red. They have wonderful shades of red over this car with some of the stripes over, and probably with the Italian tricolore over. I've seen it before in this mess of decal. There is also a tricolore there, as you can see there, plus the number 7 option. Probably the number 7 is resembling the number 7 used on Jim Glickenhaus P4 330 Ferrari, famous in Pebble Beach, you know, with the logo, with the number 7 over it, so quite famous car owned by Jim. So there is a lot of options, you know, to choose the livery, so you basically can decide any type of livery. The sp3, from as far as I know, you know, because it's quite mysterious, a super car, you know, should be produced, I say should be, because Ferrari numbers is always like when you buy Mini Champs model, you know, you read 1 of 2000, so it's a special production. But you know, they say that the production of the real car is actually limited to 599 models, 591 real models, real cars. So it should not be over 600 car, probably 599, sorry, plus one that is probably the demo prototype. So 600 car in general, pointed at, as I say, 2.3 million euro. Prices of 2024, of course, with Ferrari, something that if you buy today at 2.3, you can sell it tomorrow at 4.6. So usually with big Ferraris that way, and it's okay, it's a luxury brand, so no problems. Plus they add inside this is an extra feature typical from Tamiya. This is the metal sticker, you know, it's a kind of photo etched set with the sticker over, like Tamiya, you know, to have the, instead of the decal can never be chromed like this one, so it's a perfect condition. The same of the red label here. This is still, I think, for Leclerc car, because Leclerc made it flat black with the logo of Monaco over, plus this double mini flag running all over the car, you know. So it's anyway very interesting, but as I say, there's a flat black car, so I don't know. And plus they have this option, I think is a double sheet. I was looking yesterday, a review, I think, from Tom. You find it online, I think it's Scale Model Channel, something like that. He made a review of the PZI box of this car, that I think basically is the same one, despite there is some slightly minor differences, because he was building up and presenting, not building up, I think just presenting, I seen. He was presenting the model with a different box art, a slightly different decals, a different detail, but photo etched set were the same, and all the resin part were exactly the same. You know, there was some minor differences in the hub for the wheels and so on, but basically I think the model was the same. He was complaining a little because it's a great model, so, you know, it's a much better than me, guys, so I don't have anything to learn, to teach to Tom, you know. He has something to teach to me, but he was complaining about the windshield made in this type of solid plastic, you know, because sometimes honestly it's a little bit tricky, you know. This is a little different way than provide, as I did in my Ferrari Dino 206S, a vacuum formed professional part. The problem with the vacuum form is that today it's very difficult to find people able to print quality vacuum form, you know, and the vacuum form is anyway thermoformed clear plastic, and with the time they used to become completely yellowish, unless, as I did in my Dino 206, and thanks forever to Roberto that helped me, because Roberto was a friend from Torino that I'm still in contact with, and he works in a professional company making vacuum form parts, so he provided for me, for that kit at the time, an ultra quality vacuum form set that was extremely precise, a little thick, but in purpose, because it was very easy to work with, and absolutely guaranteed for life that they will never become yellow. I made 2 models of my Dino 206. I think the last one is available right now, so if you want to buy the Dino 1967 just keep in touch with me. And I remember that the part never ever became a yellowish. Instead, in the first one that I took from modelers, same car but without all the engine bay, 206S even Dino, the only Dino existing in the market. You know, I took a scrapped one without wheels and without details, but the transparent parts were absolutely ugly. They were completely yellow and was impossible to use them. The model then goes on with 4 screw, as in the style for Studio 2027. They always provide the screw that I never use it, you know, because I'm always scared that the screw can force a little the resin and crack around it, so it's not really my option. And a very nice 3D printed details inside, you know. All these details are simply have some fantastic stuff, you know. It's really all the wiring from the engine and so on. Very few of the engine is visible, by the way, you know. It's just that line that retakes the line of the P4. All the car is inspired, in my opinion, to a modern version, a modern reinterpretation made by Ferrari about the design of 330 P4, you know. And indeed, this car was nicknamed a Daytona SP3, probably just to remember the winning of the 3 Ferrari P4. It was honestly, I think, 1 P3 and 2 P4 crossing in Daytona 67, you know. So that's why probably the name is related to that. Not as many things, the car dedicated to the Daytona model. The Daytona model was probably something a little different, but still in the line of something that people can afford. Instead, the P3, P4, they were completely racing cars, no? And the line and the shape, you know, resemble a lot the shape of the 330 P4, you know. And I think the designer of this car, if it is still possible to contact him, maybe it can be worth the call, can be worth an email at least. It should be Architetto Manzoni. Manzoni is the designer of this car, and he surely took inspiration from the P4 of the famous arrival in Daytona Speedway. So the model is this. Let's see the parts inside. I made a long presentation for the paper because, you know, to present all the resin part here is a little bit tricky because they really made Jesus a lot of parts for a curbside model. First of all, the wheels. As you can see, the pattern of the tire is absolutely fantastic and well done. I'm really impressed by the quality of what they did here. I was not expecting that. I remember already at the time that their Nissan GT-R Nismo was a fantastic kit, honestly. Little pricey, you know, a little pricey, but I don't think from their original, this is stuff that usually cost 150 euros, so it's not so complicated. Became tricky when you have to buy from another reseller to another reseller, plus the custom cost and so on, plus the custom whatever, plus the expedition. Then it's very easy that you break the wall of the 2,200 euro, 2,000 Swedish kronor, $200. So it's a lot for this kind of models, you know, but it's the today price to pay if you want something exceptional and unique like this one could be. This is the wheels already prepared with rubber tires. They look like an excellent quality. So this was different from Tom review because he had a quite different and a little more bigger engraved details and not so nice, honestly, on the tire. This was different in his model. It was a pre-production model, so after his video they probably fixed something. Instead, this one, consider, is the last one that was available from the company. So after this model, this is the sad part of this video, that even if you want to buy this one, there is no way to have it any longer because it's currently completely out of stock. This was the model that arrived to me in August 2024. I'm making this review that is September 2024, so as soon as I get the model in my hands. And there is no way to get it any longer unless they propose to remold them. Sometimes the company does it, so just follow their social media. They are very strong in social media with a lot of alpha model. Just search Google for alpha model, will arrive everything, you know. And also, honestly, I'm a little bit honored to be part of it. There is, in my opinion, all the best modelers of the world making a review and making build of this stuff. One overall that is also my good friend is George from Greek. He's a Greek excellent model. He really do amazing stuff, really amazing stuff, and he's building this stuff. So if you search for it, just keep in touch with him, and he probably still have something, because I think George is also the retailer for Greek, for example. The same are for Italy. I mean, I am in Italy right now making this video, so it's enough that you probably the Italian user will see the Italian video, so we'll explain later in the other video I'm going to make soon. And just keep in touch with the producer and the distributor, and probably if you are quick, you are still able to have it at a reasonable price. You know, I'm completely lost for the Rexy because at the end I had to go in my own way for the guys from the slot racing, and I probably will get a Rexy, or even better, a 2019, 2020 car with the big vents over the wheels for the Porsche to have a body, you know, but I had no way to get to the Rexy version, so for me the Rexy is lost. I hope that they make something different in the future, something a little less stupid maybe than just a Rexy Monster Energy car, but it was okay also that I liked it for the shark mouth in the front, but can get it, so let it be. These are the 4 screws that we said before. I had to organize a little here because there is really a lot to see. These are the 3D parts, as we said, very well done. This is a great idea because it's a small extra detail, extra fine. And they properly made the decision not to divide the parts from the sprue, because the 3D is extremely crispy, so it's very easy to break everything here, even more if they are wires. So I don't know if I will use it properly, this stuff, or if I will remake it, simply saving the connection and the head and the tail, and then remake the cable by my own. And here we start with all the small detail inside the car, you know, this is the brakes. In the first PSI version, these were molded together with the brake disc. Now they made it separately, so even better detail. A lot of mini wings, extra wings, front wings, light wings, so you have to study very careful the actual car to understand how to place them properly. This is the roof. I still didn't make the test fitting, but as you can see, is basically transparent, so is extremely delicate. I probably will fix this with some magnets inside. There is the space to make it with a little metal label to make the car both Targa and convertible version, you know. The transparent parts, so these are molded nearly like in a plastic, now clear resin. Usually clear resin is very easy to yellowish, but this seems absolutely wonderful quality. As well as this is the other part of the wiring. I didn't study the model, but there is really millions of parts that I was not honestly expecting for such a curbside model. This is the dash with the interior part and the details of the door. The quality of the resin is fantastic. Immediately after I will quit this video, I will go make a little promotion also for my own stuff. I will go to take to the caster my newest item, that is the Porsche RSR 911 Mary Stewart from 1973, and we talk about this type of resin. I warrant you guys, the guy that made the resin for me is the same guy that made the model for BBR, Look Smart, for the big producers, you know, for the big guys. To have a quality like this is something. It is really something exceptional. So those guys at the Alpha model absolutely know what they are doing. So the quality is fantastic. I am sure that this team is anyway related and very close to the property of Burago, because when we will see the body, we have to make some little extra consideration. So let's go quickly to the all minor detail. As you can see, there is a mess. I mean, probably the best way to show you the parts of the model was just to show you what was inside here, like this. Look, there is really 145 resins plus 100 photo etches, so is a giant kit, you know, despite just a curbside model, you know. This is the tail, that is absolutely well done. This will be completely carbon fiber. So it's also very interesting that they divided the model in this way, so it's extremely easy to paint. You can choose for the paint of the main body, the wheel separately, and then assembly just in the end, so basically just cleaning. And honestly, they don't require this big cleaning, you know. There is just little molds here, but probably they are the same pins that can be used to assembling the model, you know. I still didn't study the assembly, but the quality is fantastic. The quality of the resin was, I remember already from the GTR. The GTR was a model of I think 11 or 12 years ago, so already at the time I was really impressed by the quality they had on that model, you know. This is the interior, you know. There is very few visible from above, you know. They resemble and they copied exactly the same line that was present in the Ferrari 330 P4 Spider, you know. The Spider had just an engine grill made it nearly in the same identical position. Of course, it was a car of the 60s, so it was not so beautiful. And for example, the small details like that air ducts for the motor. I think the car is hybrid thermical, so it's double motor like already la Ferrari was, 900 horsepower, something like that, and the Ferrari design that is look like a concept car. I think, in my opinion, there is no, in brackets, production car, because this is anyway a production car, nicer than this one. That's why also I accepted to make this model and to work over this type of model, because it's absolutely, in my opinion, I don't like modern cars. You know me, I'm a guy of the 70s, so I live in the 70s, in the 80s, so everything, I like it more the years, honestly. It was much more natural, much more real, in my opinion. But this is absolutely something fantastic. And Architetto Manzoni here made a masterpiece, really, really made a masterpiece. Now we go to the big one. Hold on. The packaging is also very, very well done, Everything is a lot of bubble wrap and so on. This is the main body. Well, let's talk a little about this main body. My idea, and maybe we get some enemies here, and I don't know, but my idea, it is that anyway, this body of this quality cannot be handmade like my models. This is something that have been absolutely made after a 3D design, as well as we seen with the model that I present on my channel. I don't know if probably this will go forward, this video, and talking to you about the 296 GT3 car that also was made after 3D. I suspect that the body is completely made after a 3D file, exceptionally well done, because this is too much sharp, it's too much precise, it's too nice to be handmade like ordinary models are made, Despite some artists can do the same and so on, this is too nice, honestly, to be made by hand. This is made from a machine, I guess. The master, I'm talking of the master, then of course the cast is handmade, The quality is fantastic. I have nothing to say. The resin is absolutely perfect. There is no bubble at all. There is no imperfection at all. As I say, I do this stuff. I know what does it mean to do something like this. And believe me, it's absolutely not easy. It's not an easy task. They made an exceptional work here. Really, really exceptional work. Also including something that is not so visible, like the vents down there, like that detail up there, up here. It's not so easy to see this stuff when the model is complete. Isn't she fantastic? I think it is. I think it's really, really the nicest production Ferrari ever made. This is really a supercar of the supercars. So sexy, really, really is so sexy. Resembling also this line, even coming from the P4. In the P4 they were much more back. Fantastic. I'm really, really speechless, for what there is in the box. So my question is absolutely, it is worth it today to spend all this mod in this type of car? Fuck yeah. Absolutely yes. 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 It's too nice. Simply too nice. My opinion, just for the way that I paint my models, usually, and these have to be that way, I have been criticized in the opposite way when I do my models, because some people tells me that my models are too glossy, and usually building up race car, usually they are not in reality so glossy as I do. But it's a kind of conventional way to do models, so I will never make a race car flat or semi-gloss, so I make them glossy. In this body, I think, for the type of model that it is, also for the dimension, I am nearly sure that this part will be the headmaster part that can be used for an upcoming Burago item in 124 for massive production series, because it's really, really too much well done. Also the step up here is in the dimension of what they can do in Burago, so it requires really, really minor adaptations to make an excellent model of the Daytona sp3. Right now they just made the 118 model. Of course, is Burago the only one that is allowed to make massive production of this type of cars? When you need for big numbers, you have to go for the die-cast guys, But I suspect the people involved in this project is exactly the same people involved in the 118 from other company from China. Because I remember at the time, I was telling you before, when I was working with the fellow from Asia, we were involved with a company in China named Wong. It was owned by a lady, very aggressive businesswoman, And I met her. It was impressive to see this lady working like really like a beast. You know, the Wong was incredible. Wong is one of the generical name, like to be named Mario Rossi in Italy. So isn't nothing. Is maybe was neither a real name, you know. But I remember that this company was making absolutely everything in diecast, and I think still is one of the greatest company ever done there. You know, they are quite close in explaining to the people from the West how does it work down there, because also they don't need, and there is no needing to explain absolutely. But the point is that at the end you have a top-notch quality model in your hands, and this is one of them. This is absolutely one of them, probably made for a restricted elite of people that are able to find them, to catch them, really hyper collectible items. You know, I think we are on the same line of the amalgam model, with the only difference that here we are talking about kits, so probably also they go with a little step by step, because you never know what you're dealing with. Many of these models will probably end in some collection and never will be built. I will do this one. I absolutely will do this one. I want to see the sp3 in my collection. You know, I have the P4 converted in the Spider version there. I probably will make another one making a P4 closer because the line is too nice, but I will do also this. Hell yeah, I will do absolutely also this. Under part, this was exactly the same one used by PZ High, I think is the company. I remember that I get in touch a couple of times with the guy that have a symbol of a little can of beer, you know, in Facebook, and I always suspect that I'm dealing with the devil, you know, because that is an exceptional modeler. He's a modeler that do stuff that every time I say, God, my friend, you made another masterpiece. So he's really skilled people. So this is surely coming from them. As I said, I cannot stop to touch it because it's really, believe me, something really sexy and well done. Just will engrave a little more the panel line, because for the type of paint that I will use, this will be a little more in evidence, you know, need to be a little more evidence than this thin line, but properly they made it in a very soft way, because a lot of people don't like severely engraved panel lines. Bellissima, bravo architetto Manzoni. I should not be the one telling you that, because I don't think in this life I will ever afford a car of 2.3 million euro or 5 or 6 like the Ferrari out of production usually reach the price, you know, but I can have them in model, and not so many can have it until today, until this will not go in massive production, if it will ever go in a massive production in 1/24 scale, because now the car is already outside from, I think, a couple of years, and we never seen it, you know. Seen much more real car than models, honestly, about this one. Final part is this one that I was telling you before. I think the only difference from the review, it was the review that I just seen yesterday, you know, it is that here they don't provide the seat belts, so it's not this big issue. Seat belts I can make it by my own, red, blue, black, so it's absolutely no problem, but they provide you the buckles for the seat belt, so it's no problem to make it by my own, you see, absolutely not a problem. Decals are fantastic, you see, and I think it's the same quality. It's the same quality that I had with their 458 GT2. They just sold after they finished it in the same identical way like this, the production of the resin, and they never placed it back in production. So hold on. That's why I mean, when you're talking and dealing with resin, you have to be quick. You don't have to wait time, and right now is a problem. I understand that 200 euros is a big sum for models, but if you are inside these items, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I mean, is collector special stuff. What are we talking about? If you are looking for it, go for it. Don't think, go for it. You will just regret. I see that in first. I am producer of resin, so I know what I'm saying. So if you miss it, then you will not sleep good. I know it. Final part. That was the 7. The inspiration from Jim Glickenhaus. Should drop him a mail, you know. Jim was extremely kindly guy, you know, from Cameron Glickenhaus company, you know. They were funny guys, you know. Remember, I had a brief chat with him via email at the time of the gt40s.com forum, you know. We were talking of 20 years ago. It was this multimillionaire extrovert fellow from the US. Was extremely kind, you know. Was really cool, a cool guy. I liked him a lot. I don't think Jim will ever look at any of my videos, but if he does, Jim, I have a great memory of you, and was the only one making the P5, you know. P5. P5 is, I don't know if it is also coming from these guys and so on, but there was a model, Garage Model Kit, I think it was, back in time about his P5 that I missed, of course, because also me at first crossed the model when it was 200 bucks and I say, fuck man, 2,200 bucks is a lot, I can buy a lot of other stuff, and then I regret like hell. So we will see. Final part is the wonderful drawing, which is in my opinion the nicest. They choose this, and I probably will choose this too, the nicest livery ever. Dark metallic red stripes. Bellissima, nothing more to say, really, speechless, honestly speechless. They made an awesome job. This is the, once again, in my opinion, one of the nicest resin kit ever produced in the last year. Go for it. Don't question, go for it, go for it, go for it. You cannot miss this. This is simply awesome. I can't really wait to start the build. You know, I have some customer builds. I'm so much inside Formula One cars. You know, there is a lot of stuff going on. So go for it. This absolutely deserves to be taken. This is something that you have to collect. As I did for the previous big Ferraris, you know, I had the target in my collection that I say I will never build them up, excluding this type, of course. So I collect them just to see the shape from the Burago collection. It's an item that costs 1/10 of this one, so it's really 10 times cheaper than this stuff. But of course you cannot compare the quality of a finished product. And I'm really, really excited. You know, you just have to finally decide the proper shape of red, because this Ferrari, in my opinion, even if they exist in Smurf blue, in puke green, flat black, what the fuck, I think this model has to be strictly red. Period. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.